A-M-B-E-R-M-A-Y, that's fly.
Get it right, get it right.
A-M-B-E-R-M-A-Y, that's why.
Time to kick it off, yeah. It's time to do it right. Amber May Show is here with topics you like out of the desert where the sun gets hot. So drop on into that Amber May spot. It's time to kick it off, yeah. It's time to do it right. Amber May Show is here with topics you like out of the desert where the sun gets hot. So drop on into that Amber May spot.
Welcome to the Amber May Show. I'm your host. I bet you can't guess my name. Yes, that's right, Amber May. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about traffic cameras. Do they do what they're supposed to do, or are they a taxation without representation? We're going to take a look with our legal correspondent, Cowboy Joe, in just a little bit, as well as we're going to look at some sports scores. And if you would like to get in touch with me, go ahead and log on to my MySpace page at www.myspace.com/AmberMayAZ, May as M-A-Y. I want to thank you for tuning in today to the Amber May Show. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I am working in radio at a small AM station, and I don't get an opportunity to be a broadcaster, and that's what I really like to do. I want to have an outlet to share what's on my heart and to tell people stories, because people have unique stories to get out and they're not always told. And so I want to be able to help people get their stories out. That's a passion of mine. And I have things that are just on my heart burning, and I just would like to get the news out to people and take it for what it's worth. You know, if you hate it, you love it, great, or not great, you know, depending on how you look at it. But I would like someday to be able to have my own real radio show. But for now, this is my outlet. This is my way to get what's on my brain, what's going on from what I can see in my perspective, out to help the public or warn the public or whatever the case might be. So if you have any comments or questions, you can always contact me at myspace.com/AmberMayAZ. And like I said, we're going to be having some sports later on today, and we're also going to be talking with our legal correspondent, Cowboy Joe, about photo radar cameras. We're going to be talking with him, and he has a lot of great points to make about traffic cameras, and are they really legal? Do they really do what they're supposed to do, or are they just taxation without representation? So that's really important to talk about, because maybe you don't have that in your state yet, but maybe you will. So it's good to be kind of up on beat about that. There's a great website to go to about the photo radar vans, and that's camerafraud.com. That's camerafraud.com. You can get some information about photo radars, good, bad, and the ugly. So go there. I want to encourage people, when they see stuff that are upsetting them, to actually go out and do something about it. Either protest, write your legislatures, write your Democrats, write your Republicans, write your congressmen, write your senators, write whoever you need to, as well as take a stand and say, hey, I'm not going to put up with it. So I want to encourage you guys to get out there. If you see something that's upsetting you, to get out there and let your voice be heard. That's what our process is all about, is getting your voice out and let it be heard. Let's take a break right now. We'll be back, and we'll have our guest speaker, our legal correspondent, Cowboy Joe.
Are you looking for a uniform store that will give you the most bang for your buck? If so, then you're going to want to check out my friend Dave at davesuniform.com. He specializes in public safety uniforms and gear. He can get you whatever your needs are, including bulletproof vests, holsters, knives, flashlights, and just about anything. He also has a wide variety of Dickie scrubs for people in the medical field. If you are looking for fair prices and friendly service, check out my friend Dave at davesuniform.com. Let him know you heard about it on the Amber May Show. That's davesuniform.com.
If you are hungry or would like a great place to hang out and grab a beer, then you'll want to stop by Buffalo Wings and Rings on Thomas and Dysart. They have killer onion rings and great tasting food and an atmosphere that's a lot of fun. Stop by Buffalo Wings and Rings for the daily specials and the fun at Thomas and Dysart.
Finding a good locksmith is hard to do these days. If you need your locks rekeyed, call Phil's Lock and Key. We're a mobile locksmithing company that can come and fix all of your lock and key needs. Give Phil a call at 602-524-1838. That's 602-524-1838. You are the key to our business. Let us make the keys for yours.
Welcome back to the Amber May Show. I'm your host, Amber May, and we're here with our legal correspondent, Cowboy Joe. Cowboy Joe, what do you think about the whole camera situation that we have with our photo radar vans? Does it really do what it say it's going to do? Does it really stop traffic? When I mean by it, does it really stop traffic? Does it really stop speeders? Does it really stop red light runners?
Photo radar was the wrong answer especially for our state, because law enforcement officers on the road are able to take people off the road, such as DUIs and people under the influence of any other type of narcotic substance or illegal drugs. They are able to arrest warrants. They can actually take people into custody, whereas a camera just snaps a photo. And let's face it, most of these people that are driving out there that are druggies and that don't usually drive their own cars, and they're not the ones that are actually paying the tickets. They're the ones that are skipping out on the court most of the time anyway. So the only people that are really paying for these tickets are honest people or honest citizens, thereby making it basically nothing more than a tax, trying to force you to pay a ticket. Another thing to address on these is it's not really legal for them to just mail you a piece of paper that's a ticket. That's the job of a police officer and the object of being served. You'd have to look up the word service in ARS as it's defined in our Arizona Revised Statutes, and it will show you, if you look in there, that it is not valid as being served when you're sent something like that in the mail. And because of that, it's created a huge problem in this state. As a matter of fact, over 100, they say about 100 of these vans were ordered. If you take that price, you could actually divide it up, and that's how many more officers could have been hired to do things like that aren't limited to photo radar, could do things like drug enforcement and task enforcement and taking dangerous criminals off the streets. But instead, we're focusing in on these tickets right here just to generate revenue. It's an unnecessary tax on the people.
Basically, it's taxation without representation. It's a terrible idea, and it feels like you're being watched by the big brother sometimes for something stupid. I mean, what if I was speeding to get away because I just stole a car? A law enforcement officer could pull me over, realize the car's stolen, take me under custody, and the person's car could be given back to them. But instead we have the red light cameras and the speeding cameras, which are not really helping, what you say, with reducing speeding, reducing red light running, correct?
Right, and here's another issue. They give you a ticket, and on the ticket it states that your speed was not reasonable and prudent, or it'll say R and P. The letters R and P. What that means is that your speed wasn't reasonable and prudent for that situation. A camera cannot prove that your speed was reasonable or prudent. There's different situations where a law enforcement officer could assist or help honest citizens in a situation that they're involved in and can justify their speeds. For instance, if my son was having appendicitis and we had to rush him to the hospital, would I be justified in doing 75 miles an hour in a 65? By all means. Is that camera able to make that call? No way. Are you going to get a ticket in the mail for it? Absolutely. But if a law enforcement officer, like a DPS officer, were to pull me over on the freeway for doing that, not only would he not issue me a ticket, but he would escort me to the hospital or be able to get my son there quicker so that he could receive appropriate medical care. There's any number of these issues that arise. Think about the loss of a loved one. What if a loved one only had 5 or 10 more minutes to live and you had to get to the hospital to see him? I mean, you can't drive recklessly on the freeway, but if you're speeding like 11 miles an hour with the speed limit to get somewhere to see something very important to you, like a loved one that you're about ready to lose, or getting your son to the hospital or your daughter to the hospital, is your speed reasonable and prudent? This is stuff that cannot be proven by a camera, and in a court of law will probably not stand up either. If you got a good judge who's listening and you make the argument, reasonable and prudent cannot be proven by a photo camera.
There you have it. Taxation without representation, most likely. Is it really doing its job? Not as good as a law enforcement officer could. For more information, you can check out camerafraud.com or just do some research on yourself. Are they really doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are the stats being skewed? Look for yourself, investigate it. Just something to think about.
AMBERMAY, that's